I think we have to be very calm but very authoritative, you know, and we need to get our message across to the police that, you know, we want to see a return to law, you know. So we need to know why what's happening is happening, and then be able to educate the police. And, you know, there's all variations of that, but anyway, they grabbed an arm each side, okay? They dragged me out, and, you know, they both piled on me then. All right, my face was in the concrete, and he had his knee in the back of my neck there. I had a bit of a black eye afterwards. My neck did hurt for a day or two. Nothing too serious, you know. I kind of decided, like, let's just try, just out of curiosity, okay? Let's test the water, you know, can I get up? So I shuffled my legs around, because they were kind of free. So I just shuffled my legs around to alter the position, and then, you know, I made 2 attempts to get up. And they really didn't like that. You know, they really didn't like that. So he piled his knee into my neck, you know, a few times. My dad was actually filming, or I thought he was filming. You know, my dad is 64 and he's not great. He doesn't like the technology, but I said, you know, you've got to press the round record button on the screen. And he thought it was recording. I thought it was recording. It wasn't recording. You know, after 4 hours, the sort of, you know, the critical part, and we didn't get it on film. But so, you know, and it was funny because my dad was there and he was filming, and I had my keys actually, one of my hands was up here like this, and I was trying to call my dad, you know, grab the keys so the police wouldn't get them. And anyway, my dad did get the keys, and, you know, as he was recording, I said to him, I said, Dad, I said, I told you, I said, this is exactly what they are. I said, they're working for the banks, and all they're doing is just aiding and abetting criminals, making sure they extort the bloody slave tokens from us. I said, can you see it for what it is? And I tell you, the cop, I really didn't like that. He rammed his knee in my neck, you know, forcefully, you know, and in fact, he said, like, you know, shut up. Anyway, they slammed me in the back of, it was just, they you know, obviously they cuffed me up, chucked me in the back, and, you know, I have never, of course, your whole life you identify as the Vatican debt slave, okay? That's what you do, because that's your name, you know, and you're conditioned that is how you identify yourself. But of course it relates to this legal fiction, and the legal fiction, by the way, is not, I'm just a messenger here. It's their system, it's their rules, their writing. You know, it has to do with the Mercantile Act, and by the way, the government and all these things, the police, the courts, all of them now are corporations. Okay, in 1982. Under the Indentures Act, you know, everything got taken out of, you know, our supposed, it was in a trust. The government used to be a trust, and they would discharge your liabilities. So it was still a bad system, but it was a whole lot better than what it is now. You know, now there's no discharging of liabilities. It's just pure slavery, trying to extort as much as they possibly can from you in every which way, and that includes your rights, everything. So anyway, they threw me in the back of the thing, and, you know, I'll say something now, right? I don't take anything or anyone for granted, all right? But I knew at that point, even though I was doing something completely alien to me, which was, first of all, asserting my rights under the law, second of all, identifying as Minister M. Venn, okay, and stating openly that I stand for universal law. You know, I've been involved with the trust for about 6 weeks, so my consent is removed from the legal system, and I just had total trust and trust in the trust, all right, that they would look after me, they would do what needed to be done. And, you know, yeah, and, you know, I tell you now, I was in the back of that vehicle there, and I was having a spiritual awakening. You know, it was absolutely to stand up for yourself, forget about the physical part, but just 4 hours of just, you know, asserting your rights. And I didn't care that they arrested me. I didn't care about none of that, you know. And I thought, I mean, I was actually preparing myself for 28 days in the slammer. I mean, you know, I haven't been arrested. I don't know the crack. So, and because I was refusing to identify as a legal fiction, okay, so what's going to happen to me at that point? I don't really know. I haven't been through it. So, you know, I had trust in the trust for good reason. I'll tell you something now. I don't use this word ever. I have actually been inspired by what I've seen people doing in this trust. All right, people for no reward, no financial gain, no certificate at the end of it to say, oh, well done, there's a gold star. You know, it's people just standing up for each other and helping each other out because they believe in the same thing, and we just stand and we help each other, you know. And a perfect example of that is this document here. I don't know if you'll be able to see that on the camera. It's a habeas corpus, okay, which is a writ. It's a lawful writ for unlawful incarceration, because that's what's happening to me now, okay? And bear with it, because I know this video's rambling on a bit, but the police crime sentencing, this is absolutely relevant to that bill that's coming out, okay? So, the habeas corpus, okay, now a guy that I've only met once briefly, okay, has driven over 3 hours down to Swansea Central, okay, and he's served this at 11 p.m. and other people in the trust have all played their part, you know, standing surety to me, being on the phone, you know, even before I got arrested, and making sure that everything was in place, and it happened very swiftly so that I could get out swiftly, you know. And I tell you, it's quite an amazing experience. I was in the back of that thing literally having a spiritual awakening. You know, it was an incredible experience. The whole time in the cell, it did not bother me one iota. I don't care what they did do, or I do not care, okay? So they drove me to Swansea Central. Just check what are we on. Okay, we're on 26 minutes, so this is going to stop in a little short bit there, and I'll have to start it again. So got to Swansea Central. The first thing they tried to do was put a mask on me, okay? As I said, when you're a minister, you rebut the presumption that you need anything from the government. Okay, so that includes your own healthcare provisions, everything. So she pulled out the mask. She said, I got to put a mask on you. I said, no. I said I am immune to COVID. I have my own immunity records. She just stopped, looked, and, well, I haven't heard that before. She put the mask away. They didn't bother me once with the mask after that. Didn't bother me once. Every single person who came in, they were forcing them to wear the masks. All right, and this is now the real bit that I want to get over to you, right? About this this police crime sentencing and courts bill. Now I've read this, okay, and it's really clear and obvious what they're doing. There's millions of people on the street, all right. You know, and they're trying to speed up the whole thing from, first of all, why they can arrest you. They're making it much easier. Oh yeah, just arrest those people there, okay? They're making a bit too much noise, you know, whatever, protesting, putting a sign up, arrest them. Then the middle part, which is the cell part, okay? And then the third part, which is the court part. They're looking to speed the whole process up, okay? So this is just now going to be, it's going to be a gold mine for them. It's going to be an absolute gold mine. And if you don't want to support terrorism, fund your own terrorism, okay? Because we all know this thing hasn't even begun yet, okay? The fun part is all to come. So how's it going to pan out? Well, well, just to go back quickly to the whole cell thing. So they tried, they say the slave name again. All right, and this is going to go off. It's going to go off. No, it's still recording. Okay, let's just carry on. Maybe it's going to carry on. So they tried to make me idea. I said, no, I told you, I'm Minister Emaven. Okay, I'm Minister Emaven. Okay, so they throw me in the cell, and they came in 8 times, I'd say. All right, and each time they would address the slave name, and I said no. I said Minister Emaven. Now, apart from them brief times that they tried to come in and tried to create the joinder, because as soon as you identify to that, this is no different to go back to before 1678 or whenever the slave trade was abolished. They would just whip you until you accepted your slave name. That's all they would do. But the reason, people think slavery ended, but they'd been messing with human consciousness for quite some time. So they were quite advanced with that stuff, because if you control the belief, if you control people's belief, you actually control most of their behavior as well. So they didn't want a system that was inefficient, because when it takes 50% of the population to control the other 50%, well, that's no good, is it? What they wanted was for everyone to become a slave. Okay? So that's when the Setteke Trust thing happened, 1666. There was, various attempts of this going back, I think, to about 1200, I think, might have been the first one. One of the popes had just sat on the throne and said, I own the world, and everything in it. You're all dead people, lost at sea, bona vacante, all these Latin terms they use to describe us, which basically means you're my slaves. All right, that's just what it means. So when London was burned in 1666, that's when the Setteke Trust Act was pushed through Parliament when nobody was looking, and what it said was everyone is lost, everyone is dead, everyone's a dead entity, and we're going to take everything into trust. Every person is going to come into trust, and until they prove they're alive, you're in trust of the government. And that's where this whole birth certificate thing started. So I did not create then that contract. I refused to accept the slave name. Now what that means is they can't now launder my credit file. All right, they cannot launder my credit file, which is my national insurance number. So there's no pay for the police. They've just wasted their time. Okay, and eventually what happened was Minister Emaven was left with no charge. Okay, because they cannot attach a charge to a title which they don't have the right of use of. It's not their title. So unless I have committed a true crime, which would be harm, injury, or loss, okay, they have nothing against me or the trust, or they cannot do anything. They certainly can't make any money from it. Okay. Now there was 10 cells on my side and 10 cells on the other side. So this whole time now, okay, it's just a continuous conveyor belt. I was in there at 5 p.m. on that evening until 5 p.m. the following evening. All through the evening, up until late night, early hours of the morning. And that's where the Minister Emaven title comes in, because you imagine now, okay, whenever this police crime sentencing and courts bill goes through, how much money do you think is going to be made to fund your own terrorism through that bill? Every single person who goes in the street, they haven't decided to enforce anything. They've really left the protest to go, okay, and whatever their reasons are for that, okay, they've let it go, all right. But my bet is that as soon as this thing is through, because you have to think, if there's millions of people on the street, where are they going to put all these people? Even that place in Swansea Central was full. It was continuously full. Just a revolving amount of people. And of course then they go to the court and the same thing happens. The people who identify as the Vatican debt slave. So we have a situation where the police are aiding and abetting criminals. The police need to be educated, and well, it's just the job of some of us to do that.